So we go to the store and buy some beef for a burger cookout or maybe some eggs for breakfast. We never really think or have a single thought of where they come from or how we get it. However, billions of animals die each year in horrendous conditions on factory farms. What are factory farms? Farm animals in the United States is about 99% of farm animals in the United States are raised in factory farms. They're a large industrial operation that raises large numbers of animals specifically for food. They focus on profit and efficiency over animal welfare. What are the lives of animals in these factory farms? They're packed so tight that most can barely move. They have no access to the outdoors, spending their lives in open warehouse floors or housed in cages or pens. They lack the engagement in natural behaviors, and this results in physical and mental distress. Some of the animals that are being affected are pigs. About 100 million pigs are killed and slaughtered each year on factory farms for food. And these industrial scale pig farms are known for their intensive and hospitable conditions. About 2 to 3 weeks old, their piglets are taken from the mother and placed in large windowless sheds without fresh air, sunlight, or outdoor access. They're so small for any adequate movement or exercise at all. Birds are actually one of the highest and most abused animals in the United States. About approximately 8.5 billion chickens, 238 million turkeys, 300 million chickens in cages for eggs specifically. And all these birds, egg-laying hens, meat chickens, turkeys, ducks, geese, and others are exempt from all federal animal protection laws, which I will be discussing later. But I had found about 2 federal laws for animals, and they completely exclude poultry at all. So beef cows. Beef cows are actually one of the only factory animal that are still largely raised outdoors. However, they still do not have pain-free lives. They're branded and castrated without painkillers, horns removed without painkillers, and are always outside amid all conditions at all. So this could be blistering heat, freezing weather conditions, snow, rain, wind, anything at all. They have no shelter, no place to go in these conditions. And then dairy cows. They are primarily kept inside. However, there are some, they're called mud areas, that these cows are moved from one place to another. They suffer widespread infections, which cause mastitis, which is udder swelling, due to excessive milking. Surgical mutilation, which is 2/3 of the tails removed, and this is the theory is that they believe that this is allows for a cleaner udder. However, that theory is disproven. So, these factory farms are not only negatively affecting these animals in these conditions, but humans and environment as well. So, when these areas are not maintained properly, it's a breeding ground for E. coli. They're spread through meat, dairy, and eggs. And to counteract these, the animals are being fed antibiotics. And when they're being fed antibiotics, you would think that they're problem solved. No. The thing is, bacteria is constantly adapting and evolving. So they give them antibiotics for one disease or one bacteria. All it is another bacteria is being formed, and the problem just increases and increases and increases. So antibiotic abuse creates the potential for dangerous new drug-resistant strains of bacteria to develop and spread among people as well. So once these animals are being pumped with antibiotics, we're eating the meat, we have all these antibiotics and in our body, and it's affecting us negatively as well. Water pollution. Factory farm runoff pollutes water, land, and air in neighborhoods close to these farms, which compromise both human health and quality of life as well. Factory farms versus family farms. So factory farms have wiped out most independent family farms completely. The cost of family-run farms, so meat and products, are going up because factory farms run much cheaper because they do it in such a mass quantity. Catastrophic consequences, like I've stated before, health for humans, environment, and animals, and farm animals are the least protected animals at all in the United States. So some of the federal laws, which are actually, there are no laws when animals are on the farm, like specifically, There are Transport Law, 28-Hour Law, and the Slaughter Law, the Humane Methods of Livestock Slaughter Act. So, the federal law covers all animals except poultry, which sadly means 95% of these farm animals are not covered because it's either going to be the egg-laying chickens, the meat chickens, any birds at all. So the transport law requires that animals transported out of state for slaughter by means other than water or air be unloaded every 28 hours for rest, food, and water. Like I said before, exempting chickens or any poultry, and there are many other loopholes. The slaughter law is the Humane Methods of Livestock Slaughter Act requires that livestock be quickly rendered insensible to pain before being slaughtered. This exempts poultry and also certain forms of religious slaughter such as kosher and halal. And then, like I said, exclusion of poultry species. So state laws. The state laws, since federal laws fails to protect most farm animals, like the poultry, state laws are these animals' last defense. Sadly, the majority of the U.S. states expressly exempt farm animals or certain farming practices from their anti-cruelty provisions, thus making it nearly impossible to provide even meager protections. Exemptions usually include common agricultural practices that, while common, are often cruel as well. And some states include farm animals in at least some of their anti-cruelty laws, but are rarely enforced in favor of farm animals. An increasing number of states are banning certain cruel practices such as extreme methods of confinement and the docking of cows' tails. So does cover some of the animals, which is not many at all when it comes to looking at the big picture. So lastly, what can we do? The biggest thing that we can do is stop purchasing meat and products from companies that buy from these factory farms and these inhumane ways of how they treat them and how they transport them, how they put them in these cages and whatnot. And hopes that if we boycott these items, that they will change laws and place stricter federal laws, because state laws can only go so far. So if we put federal laws onto how they are maintained, how they are when they're actually on the farm, not when they're transported, not when they're slaughtered, but when they're actually living on the farm. If we put stricter federal laws, this will help not only the animals, but in hopes helping the environment and our health, because they won't be pumped with all these antibiotics. They will be living a somewhat normal life as an animal. Thank you for listening to my speech, and I hope everyone enjoyed and learned a lot.